Junie B. Jones, and the Stupid Smelly Bus. We left off at the end of Chapter 3, so now it's time for Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Me and Lucille, and some other kids. Some of the other bus kids turned out to be in my class too. One of them was that Jim. That Jim I hate. Mrs. made us line up. Then we followed her to our room. Its name is Room 9. There were other kids waiting by the door. When Mrs. unlocked it, everyone squeezed in, all at once. That Jim stepped on my new shoe. He made a scratch mark on my shiny toe. The kind of scratch the licking won't fix. "Hey, watch it, you dumb Jim!" I hollered at him. Mrs. bent down next to me. "Let's try to use our quiet voice while we're in school," she said. I nodded nicely. "I hate that Jim," I said in my quiet voice. After that, Mrs. clapped her hands together very loud. "I want everyone to find a chair and sit down as fast as you can," she said. That's when I ran to the table with the red chair, only guess what? There was already someone sitting there, a girl with little red fingernails. And so I tapped her on her head and said, "I would like to sit there, I think." "No," she said, "I am." "Yeah, only I already picked that chair out," I told her. "Ask my mother if you don't believe me." But the girl just shook her head no. And then Mrs. clapped her loud hands again and said, "Please find a seat." And so then I had to quick sit down in a stupid yellow chair. Same stupid color as the stupid yellow bus. After that, Mrs. walked to a big closet in the back of the room. It's called the supply closet. She got out boxes of new pointy crayons and some white circles. Then she passed them out, and we had to print our names on the circles and pin them to our fronts. It was our first work. "If you need help spelling your name, raise your hand," said Mrs. I raised my hand. "I don't need help," I told her. "Grandma Miller says I print beautifully." I used red, but then a mistake happened. I made my Junie too big, and there wasn't any room left for my B, and so I had to squish it in very teeny at the bottom. "I hate this stupid dumb circle," I hollered. Mrs. made the shh sound and gave me a new one. "Thank you," I said nicely. "Grandma Miller says I print beautifully." The girl with the little red fingernails was faster than me. She showed me her circle and pointed to her letters. "Lucille. That spells Lucille," she said. Junie B. doesn't look happy with Lucille. "I like that name of Lucille," I said, "'cause guess why? Seals are my favorite animals, that's why." Then Mrs. passed out drawing paper, and we drew pictures of our family. Mrs. put a happy face sticker on mine. It was very good, except I made my father too teeny, and Mother's hair looked like sticks. After that, Mrs. took our class on a walk around the school. Everyone had to find a buddy to walk with. My buddy was Lucille. We held hands. The boy I could beat up was right in front of us. His buddy was that Jim. That Jim I hate. The first place we walked to is called the Media Center. My mother calls it a library. It's where the books are. And guess what? Books are my very favorite things in the whole world. "Hey, there's a jillion of them in here," I hollered, feeling very excited. "I think I love this place." The librarian bent down next to me, and she said to use my quiet voice. "Yeah, and guess what? Right now I just like the kind of books with pictures. Mother says when I get big, I'm going to like the kind with just words and also stewed tomatoes." The boy I can beat up said, "Shh." I made a fist at him. Then he turned around. After that, we went to the cafeteria. The cafeteria is where kids eat lunch, except not when you're in kindergarten. I said, "It smells yummy in here, just like paschetti and meatballs." Then that Jim turned around and held his nose. "Phew, I smell you." he said. Lucille laughed very hard. So I stopped holding her hand. The next place we went to was the nurse's office. It's very cute in that place. There are 2 little beds where you get to lie down and 2 little blankets that are the color of plaid. Our nurse doesn't look like a nurse. She doesn't wear white clothes and white shoes. Our nurse is just a regular color. Lucille raised her hand. My brother said that last year he came here and you let him take off his shoes and he got a drink of water and just his socks. That Jim turned around again. Pee, I smell your feet, he said to Lucille. This time Lucille stuck out her tongue at him. After that, we held hands again. Chapter 5. Principal. After we left the nurse, we went to the main office. That's where the boss of the school lives. His name is Principal. Principal is a baldy. He talked to us. Then Lucille raised her hand. My brother said that last year he had to come down here and you yelled at him, and now he's not allowed to beat up kids at recess anymore. Principal kind of laughed. Then he held the door for us to leave. After that, we walked to the water fountain and Mrs. let us get a drink. I didn't get a long one, though, because kids kept tapping on me. Hurry up, girl, they said. Yeah, well, guess what? That's not even my name, I told them. Her name is Junie Bumblebee, said Lucille. Then she laughed, but I didn't think it was a very funny joke. After that, Mrs. showed us where the bathrooms were. There's 2 kinds of bathrooms in school, a boys' kind and a girls' kind. I can't go to the boys' kind, though, because no girls allowed. That's why. I tried to peek my head in there, but Mrs. snapped her fingers at me. The only boy who got to go into the bathroom was the boy I can beat up. He was jiggling around very much. Then he started running all over the place, and then he was holding the front of his pants. William, said Mrs., are you having an emergency? Then William yelled, yes! And he ran right in there. The rest of us walked back to our room. I touched Lucille's fingernails. She said that her fingernail polish is named Very, Very Berry. I would like to have my fingernails red too, I said, but I'm only allowed to have the kind of polish that makes them look shiny. Its name is Clear. Clear is the color of spit. I hate clear, said Lucille. Me too, I told her. I also hate yellow, which is the color of the stupid, smelly school bus. Lucille nodded her head. My brother said when you ride home on the bus, kids pour chocolate milk on your head. Then all of a sudden, my stomach felt very squeezy again, because I had to ride the bus home, that's why. Why did you have to tell me that for, Lucille? I said, kind of grouchy. After we got back to room 9, we did some more work. It was a game to help us learn each other's names. I learned Lucille and also a girl named Charlotte and another girl named Grace. Then I learned a boy named Ham, which we eat at Grandma Miller's. Pretty soon, Mrs. clapped her loud hands together. Okay, everyone, gather up your things. It's almost time for the bell. Then I heard a noise in the parking lot. It was screechy brakes. And so I looked out the window and I saw the school bus. It was coming to get me. Oh no, I said kind of loud. Now I'm going to get chocolate milk poured on my head. And I chewed on my fingers. Get in line, said Mrs. When we get outside, I want all of my bus students to come with me. The rest of you must go to the crossing guard. Everyone was lining up. I was the very last one. Just then the bell rang and Mrs. marched out the door. Then everybody else marched out too, except guess what? I did it. Oh, no. Chapter 6. A good hider. When you're the very last one in line, nobody watches you. That's how come nobody saw me when I ducked behind the teacher's desk and hid. I'm a good hider. One time at Grandma Miller's house, I hid under the kitchen sink. Then I made a growly sound and sprung out at her. Not allowed to do that anymore. Anyway, I stayed scrunched behind the teacher's desk for a while. And then I saw a better place to hide. It was the big supply closet in the back of the room. So I ran back there very fast and I squeezed into the bottom shelf. I squeezed right on top of the construction paper. Most of me was comfortable, except my head was sort of very tight and my knees were all bended, like when I do a somersault. There's Junie B in the supply closet. I wonder what's going to happen next. Then I pulled the door mostly closed. Don't shut it all the way, though, and I mean it, I said right out loud. I stayed real quiet for lots of minutes. Then I heard noises in the hall, and some feet came running into the room. Big people's feet, I think. What happened? I heard someone ask. One of my little girls is lost, said a voice that sounded like Mrs. Her name is Junie B. Jones, and she didn't get on the bus, so now we've got to go out looking for her. Then I heard some keys jingle, and the feet went running out again. And then the door shut. I still didn't come out of the closet, though. When you're a good hider, you can't come out for a very, very long time. I just stayed there, all bended up, and I told myself a story. Not an out loud story. I just told it inside my head. It's called The Little Hiding Girl. I made it up, and this is how it went. Once upon a time, there was a little hiding girl. She was in a secret spot where nobody could find her, except her head was very tight and her brain was squishing out. But she still couldn't come out of her spot, or a smelly yellow monster would get her. And also some meanies with chocolate milk. The end. After that, I rested my eyes. Resting your eyes is what my grandpa does when he watches TV after dinner. Then he snores and Grandma Miller says, "Go to bed, Frank." It's not the same thing as a nap, though. 'Cause naps are for babies, that's why. And anyway, I didn't snore. I just did a little drool. Then finally, when my eyes were done resting, they woke up. And so I came out of the closet and ran right to the window, and guess what? There weren't any cars in the parking lot. And no stupid smelly bus either. Whew! That's a relief, I said. A relief is when your stomach doesn't feel squeezy anymore. After that, I went back to the closet because while I was hiding, I sniffed the smell of clay. That's why. And clay is my very favorite thing in the whole world. Hey, I see it up there, I said. The clay was on the middle shelf. I stood on a chair to get it. It was blue and stiff, and so I had to roll it on the floor to make it soft and warm. Then I rolled it into a blue orange. It was very beautiful, except it had some dirt and hair on it. After I was done, I went to the front of the room and sat down in my teacher's big chair. I liked teachers' desks very much. The drawers are so big I could fit in one, I think. I opened up the top one. There were happy face stickers and rubber bands and also gold stars, which I love a very lot. I stuck one on the forehead. Then I found paper clips and red marking pens and new pencils with no points and scissors and travel tissues. Guess what else? Chalk. Brand new chalk that's not even out of its little box yet, I said. Then I stood up on my teacher's chair and I clapped my hands together very loud. I want everyone to find a chair and sit down. Today we're going to learn some alphabet and some reading. And also, I will teach you how to make a blue orange. But first, everyone has to watch me draw stuff. Then I went to the board and drew with my brand new chalk. I drew a bean and a carrot and some curly hair. Then I wrote some O's. O's are my bestest letter. After that, I bowed. Thank you very much, I said. Now you may all go out for recess. I smiled. Except not for that gym. That is the end of chapter 6. And we will pause here and read the rest next week.